This is Falcon 9, the rocket that keeps redefining spaceflight. It lifts massive payloads, has powerful engines, and its boosters fly again and again, landing perfectly on a floating drone ship. But here's the twist. Every launch adds more Starlink satellites, cluttering the sky and raising questions. Can SpaceX keep this pace without something going wrong? Let's find out. SpaceX has gone and done it again, sending another Falcon 9 off the pad at Vandenberg Space Force Base on Sunday evening. This wasn't just any launch either. It carried 28 Starlink 5, two mini satellites into orbit. The rocket left the ground right on the dot at 7:04 p.m. Pacific time, which works out to 10:04 p.m. Eastern and 0204 UTC if you're tracking across time zones. The climb started from Space Launch Complex 4 East, nicknamed Slick 4E, and followed a southeasterly route that skimmed the coastlines of California and Mexico. What makes this even more wild is the booster, B1063. This thing was flying for the 28th time, and after doing its job, it still came back and landed safely on the drone ship. Of course, I still love you floating in the Pacific. Now here's the real head-scratcher. SpaceX wants these boosters to fly 40 times. How on earth do they keep these machines in such shape after so many fiery trips through the atmosphere? That's the kind of mystery that makes you wonder what kind of hidden work is happening behind the curtain. The launch itself played out like a perfectly timed dance. Just before liftoff, liquid oxygen was loaded into the second stage, while both liquid oxygen and RP-1 fuel filled the first stage tanks. At T-7 minutes, they began chilling down the 9 Merlin engines so they wouldn't crack from the heat at ignition. 1 minute later, the RP-1 tank on the first stage was full. At T-4 minutes and 30 seconds, the strong back, the giant structure that holds the rocket upright, leaned back 13 degrees, something that looks a little different at Vandenberg compared to other launch sites. By the 3-minute mark, the first stage oxygen tank was full, and a minute later the second stage joined it, bringing the total propellant on board to about 1 million pounds. In the final minute, computers took over, tanks were pressurized, and at T-45 seconds, the launch director gave the go. At T-3 seconds, the engines roared to life, and once they checked out, the clamps let go for a flawless liftoff. From there, Falcon 9 climbed steadily, hitting max Q, the moment of maximum stress on the rocket, without any issues. Main engine cutoff happened at T+2 minutes and 25 seconds. Then came stage separation, followed by ignition of the second stage's vacuum engine. Just before the 3-minute mark, the fairings protecting the satellites peeled away, gliding back toward the Pacific under parachutes to be scooped up later. Meanwhile, the booster started preparing for its return. At T+6 minutes and 6 seconds, it fired up 3 engines for the entry burn, just under 30 seconds long, while cold gas thrusters kept it steady. Then, at T+8 minutes and 1 second, the landing burn kicked in and B1063 dropped onto. Of course, I still love you with another soft touchdown. Up above, the second stage carried on and deployed the satellites into orbit without a hitch. The numbers behind this mission are almost unbelievable. This flight was Falcon 9's 541st launch ever, the 124th this year alone, and the 164th orbital launch SpaceX has done in the past 365 days. From Slick 4E, it was the 152nd Falcon 9 launch and the 220th orbital mission overall. On the landing side, it marked the 154th success on Of Course I Still Love You, the 417th landing on a drone ship, and the 513th booster landing overall. If you zoom out further, this was the 47th orbital launch from California this year, the 131st from US soil, the 143rd launch by an American rocket company, and the 225th globally in 2025, with 5 orbital failures so far this year. The latest batch of Starlink satellites, called Group 11 to 20, are V2 mini versions, each weighing about 800 kilograms, a solid upgrade from the older V1.5 models. These satellites have advanced laser links to talk to each other in space, boosting communication across the network. Starlink itself is a huge internet from space project, with more than 6,300 satellites launched and roughly 5,500 still active, providing internet to over 3 million users in more than 70 countries. This batch went into a 530-kilometer orbit at a 43-degree angle, adding to one of the constellation's shells for broader coverage. The network handles 23 petabytes of data daily and can provide latency as low as 20 milliseconds, making it perfect for things like gaming, trading, or video calls in remote spots, including Antarctica, cruise ships, or rural areas of Brazil. But with 6,300 satellites already in orbit, the question arises, how much clutter is too much? Astronomers have complained about bright satellites interfering with observations. And while SpaceX is testing darker coatings, the issue isn't fully solved. There are even lawsuits over environmental impacts at launch sites, and managing international rules from the FCC and the International Telecommunication Union is no small task. With plans for up to 42,000 satellites, 12,000 first, then 30,000 more, you have to wonder if this pace is sustainable. The booster, B1063, is now tied for the second most flown in SpaceX's fleet, with 28 missions under its belt. SpaceX's goal is 40 flights per booster, so some are already halfway there. The current leader may be B1062 or another at the same level. B1063 first, launched in November 2020 for the Sentinel-6 mission, and has since carried Starlink satellites, NASA crew missions, and more. After landing, it sails back to the port of Long Beach on the drone ship, gets offloaded by crane, trucked to Hawthorne or a test site, and prepared for reuse. Turnarounds can be as fast as 21 days, with engines swapped if needed. Fairings follow a similar cycle, parachuting into the ocean, recovered, and inspected. SpaceX has transformed rocket parts into reusable machines, cutting costs from $67 million per launch in 2018 to under $30 million now. But how can they push boosters this far without major failures? They use non-destructive testing, improved heat shields, and octaweb structures. Still, doubling the flight target from 20 to 40 raises questions. Their success streak is over 300 launches without a booster loss since 2020, an almost unbelievable record. This launch also coincided with the anniversary of Falcon 1, SpaceX's first small rocket, which flew 5 times with 3 successes before retiring in 2009. Falcon 1 laid the foundation for Falcon 9, which debuted in 2010. Falcon 9 is enormous, 70 meters tall, 3.7 meters wide, with a liftoff mass of 549 tons. It can carry up to 22,800 kilograms to low Earth orbit when expendable, slightly less when reusing the first stage, like this mission's 22.4 tons of satellites. The first stage has 9 Merlin 1D engines producing 845 kilonewtons each, for 1.7 million pounds of thrust at liftoff, while the second stage has a single Merlin vacuum engine at 981 kilopascals, burning for 397 seconds versus the first stage's 162 seconds. They use subcooled RP-1 and liquid oxygen for better density and performance. SpaceX produces over 2,000 Merlin engines in-house at Hawthorne, testing each before flight. The Falcon 9 Block 5, introduced in 2018, made rapid reuse possible with grid fins and landing legs guiding boosters, and drone ships staying in place with thrusters, GPS, and proprietary tech. After landing, the drone ship sails back in 3 to 4 days, and the booster is secured for the next flight. Coordinating all of this at such a scale is impressive, but also makes you wonder how mistakes are avoided. Looking ahead, the next launches are on October 3rd, with one Starlink mission from Florida at 1:39 a.m. Eastern and another from Vandenberg at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, a double launch day. Florida faces bad weather due to Hurricane Humberto and Tropical Storm Alda, producing dangerous surf of 10 to 15 feet along the east coast and Bermuda. Storms are delaying drone ship movements and launches. Meanwhile, Vandenberg is ideal for polar and sun-synchronous orbits, though this launch's 43-degree inclination was for Starlink's coverage while avoiding populated areas. Slick 4E has hosted 152 Falcon 9 launches since SpaceX leased it in 2011. Built in 1957 and historically used for Titans and Delta II rockets, it's part of the 30th Space Wing. The coordination of historic sites, modern technology, and massive satellite networks creates a situation that feels impressive, but also slightly worrying, because the pace and scale of these operations leave little margin for error. SpaceX's launch schedule is nothing short of relentless. On average, they launch a Falcon 9 every 3 days, and they even hold the record of sending up 2 rockets in a single day. In Q3 2025 alone, they carried out 31 launches, beating last year's numbers. The company was founded by Elon Musk in 2002, with the ambitious goal of colonizing Mars. But it wasn't smooth sailing. 3 consecutive Falcon 1 failures in 2006, 2007, and 2008 almost bankrupted them. Success finally arrived in 2008, and NASA contracts for cargo and crew missions to the ISS helped keep the company alive. Today, SpaceX has over 12,000 employees and facilities in California, Texas, Florida, and Washington. Its valuation has surpassed $200 billion, with Starlink alone generating $3 billion a year, helping fund Musk's Mars plans. Investors include big names like Google and Fidelity, though Musk retains the majority share. Their rise from near collapse to global dominance is astonishing, but it also raises questions. Does Musk's influence, especially on social media, sway regulators too much? The FAA has grounded them temporarily after anomalies, yet launches resume quickly. Reports of long work hours and injuries at sites, along with FAA fines for violations, make you wonder what's happening behind the scenes, even as launches appear flawless. Starlink is changing the game for internet access. Portable dishes bring service to RVS, maritime coverage serves ships, and airlines like Delta and Hawaiian are using it for flights. They're also partnering with T-Mobile for direct-to-cell service. Techs started in 2024 with Voice Next, using satellites as cell towers that work with regular phones in remote areas. The satellites feature Ku and Ka band antennas, 4 phased arrays, and laser links, reducing the need for ground stations to about 100. Over-the-air software updates similar to Tesla's system keep the network current, which makes the integration of Starlink unusually seamless. The network has even been used in disasters like hurricanes for free, supporting schools in Brazil, Antarctic research stations, and cruise ships like Royal Caribbean. With 3 million users now and a target of 10 million, Starlink is powerful, but issues like subscription churn, privacy concerns, and government partnerships such as Starshield for the DoD or use in Ukraine make its reach feel both impressive and worrying. Competitors like OneWeb, with 600 satellites and Amazon's Kuiper still testing, lag behind. Globally, SpaceX handles roughly 60% of launches, far ahead of China's Long March, Russia's Soyuz, Rocket Lab's 50 Electron launches, and Blue Origin's New Glenn or ULA's Vulcan, while Europe's new Ariane 6 remains costly. Their reusable rockets are a major edge, though skeptics question if this is sustainable long-term. The launch itself drew over 1,500 viewers online, including people in Hollywood Hills, Griffith Observatory, Redondo Beach, and Orange County, some capturing the plume with drones. The sunlight gave the exhaust a bright glow as the rocket climbed. This was the final Falcon 9 flight of September, with October already shaping up as busy. The satellites deployed in a train, visible as a line of lights, and slowly adjusted orbit using argon Hall thrusters. The process is slow but efficient, taking weeks to reach exact positions, with coverage optimized over populated areas for capacity. Redmond, Washington manages the network, and dishes auto-align via an app. Launch control operates from Hawthorne, while pads are active at SLC 40 and Cape Canaveral. LC-39A at Kennedy, Slick 4 at Vandenberg, and Boca Chica for Starship. Can Falcon 9 keep flying flawlessly while Starship tests ramp up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And for more such videos, make sure to subscribe to our channel.